In the aftermath of UFC 304, we clearly saw Dana White coping about the fact that he just witnessed the greatest heavyweight of all time take out one of the better heavyweights in the history of the heavyweight division. At UFC 304 in London, Tom Aspinall easily dispatched of Curtis Blaydes in the first round. Standing on the feet with Curtis, Tom Aspinall easily knocked him out after just a minute of fighting. In the post-fight press conference, Dana White decided to go on a tear, almost demoting Aspinall after this fantastic finish. He propped up once again Jon Jones. And so in this video from Kevin Iole, we see Dana White speak on what Tom Aspinall just did and what it means going forward. Let's get into this.
For this, what he did to Curtis Blaydes, the way that he did it and how fast he did it,
right?
There's no doubt. I mean, this guy is a scary dude, and he looks like the future of the heavyweight division, right? But at the same...
There. He just said it. Finally. After months and months of coping about the Jon Jones situation, he finally admits that Tom Aspinall is something special. We've seen Dana White for the past couple of months speak after almost each and every UFC event about how Jon Jones is the greatest of all time. And basically demoting, like I said before, Tom Aspinall, his current reigning interim heavyweight champion. The rightful heavyweight champion, as many of the hardcore fans understand and well acknowledge. But here we have Dana White continuing on. He just can't seem to keep his mouth shut and his foot out of his ass.
Same time, he's working his way up. He's climbing up the ladder, and everybody's like, he deserves this and he deserves that, and he's
climbing up the ladder, deserves this, deserves that. He's the interim heavyweight champion. He took out Sergey Pavlovich, one of the scariest thumpers in the heavyweight division, one of the best knockout artists in the heavyweight division in history. Climbing up the ladder, he just took out Curtis Blaydes, one of the best wrestlers in the heavyweight division ever. A guy who's a perennial top 5 contender, who's only lost to the best of the best. But he's climbing up the ladder? He took out Volkov, and that guy's on a tear right now. Do we need to continue the way that he dispatched Tybura? I mean, what more do we need to say about Tom Aspinall? What more does Dana White need to see? He's the promoter of the UFC. Does he really need to tear down Aspinall at every which way? You can promote Jon and promote Tom at the same time. You don't need to tear one or the other down at any given moment. And the one that deserves the tearing down is Jon Jones, not the building up. Don't you want your young guy to take out the legend? Not even going to acknowledge it? I'm not saying that he needs to sell us on Tom Aspinall being the GOAT already. Maybe he's not. You could argue he is.
He doesn't deserve anything. He looks great, and he looks like he's going to be the guy.
He doesn't deserve anything. What are you talking about, brother? You just said it yourself. He looks like he's going to be the guy. Does he not deserve to be fighting for the actual heavyweight champion? He's defended the interim belt. How many times have we seen that in the past? Not very many. What does that mean? The dude's legit, and Jon Jones is holding up the division. Let's pull up Tom Aspinall's record real quick, just because I'm curious. So 2024, his one and only fight was Curtis Blaydes. A minute into round 1, knocked him out. 2023, took out Sergey Pavlovich for the interim title at 295. Stepped up on short notice and did that. His return from injury against Tybura in London, 1 minute and 13 seconds. Knockout. Put him on the floor. 2022. Yes, he lost to Curtis Blaydes, but that's not really a loss. He injured his knee. It's a fluke victory for Curtis Blaydes. It doesn't really count. Curtis doesn't even acknowledge that it counts. And then, prior to that, took Volkov. It only took him 4 minutes, and that's one of those fights where you're like, man, that took him a while. It took him 3.5 minutes to take him out. Are you kidding me? 2021. Let's see who he was fighting back then. Ooh, a grizzled veteran in Andrei Arlovsky. No scrub. Is he at the peak of his performance back in the old days? No, I don't think so. Admittedly, he's a little slow, but he's a smart fighter. He's one of the smarter heavyweights, and he took him out in 2 rounds. And before that, Sergey Spivak took him 2.5 minutes. These guys, other than Andre, are all at the top of the division. Let's go back to 2020. Let's see who he fought. Jake Collier, not much to write home about, but he dispatched of him in 45 seconds. Alan Badao, 1:35. Like what? This was 4 years ago. 4 years less of development. He was still taking these guys out in a minute. And now he's taking out the best in the world in a minute or 2. What is Dana White talking about? Doesn't deserve anything. You've got to be freaking kidding me. I gotta agree with Ben Davis on this one. It's pretty insane coming from a guy who you would think would want to promote that kind of guy.
You got Stipe and Jon who have paid their dues. They've been here forever. They
paid their dues. Jon Jones came up to heavyweight and fought 1 time. Paid his dues. He beat Cyril Gane, a tailor-made matchup for him. Yeah, Stipe, I guess you could see, has made his way through the heavyweight division, but he's an old vet. Arguably shouldn't be fighting. He hasn't fought in 3 years. I don't know what he's going to look like when he comes back. Probably in good shape for a 44-year-old, 45-year-old, 46-year-old, 57-year-old. Who knows?
They fought everybody. They fought all the fights that you could possibly fight. These guys deserve to fight each other. Whoever wins that fight, I think that they owe it to Aspinall to fight him.
You think that they owe it to him? What else does he need to do to earn it? Take out Alex Pereira? Take out Cyril Gane? Take out the entire heavyweight division for Jon Jones? Come into the fight with an injury so that Jon can just run him over or something like that? Which we know would never happen, but what are you talking about? You think, Dana. Come on. You said it yourself a couple days ago in the post-fight press conference.
And give him the opportunity that they've been given. You know, when you look at Jon Jones and Stipe, they beat all the guys.
Jon Jones wasn't given anything at heavyweight. They picked Cyril Gane, and in all honesty, a lot of casual fans who aren't big Jon Jones fans, a couple of which I know, thought, what the heck is going on here? Did Cyril throw the fight? That's what it looked like. He didn't do a damn thing. He let him take him down. He let him get his back. Jon didn't earn anything, make his way through a heavyweight division. He got to pick his opponent, and he beat his ass. Easily. Look at what Cyril's done since then. You think he would be accepting of a payday? Is that possible? Conspiracy theory time? Did he throw the fight? Because look at what he's doing now. He's going for movies. He's going for the paycheck. He's fighting Alexander Volkov at 308 on a main card of a pay-per-view when he could have been headlining Paris at the end of September. What are we doing here?
Right? And you're either going to be the guy that's going to cement your legacy forever, or you're going to hand the torch off the way the torch was handed off to you guys by all the guys that came before you.
Interesting.
That's the only part that I agree with in the entire video. It's the only sane part from Dana White. You drop the ladder down for the guys that come behind you because somebody else dropped the ladder down for you. They let you take over their mantle, some of which took their fans because you were able to win. Think about the Max Holloway fights with Volkanovski. Everybody was a Max Holloway fan going into those. Volk, very underrated in terms of the fan appeal. And by the time they finished their trilogy, Volk was the star of the featherweight division. This is how it's supposed to work. Tom Aspinall has to fight Jon Jones. We know Stipe's probably not going to win that fight, let's be honest, but who knows? Tom deserves everything right now. The way he's taking these guys out, he deserves everything and anything that comes his way in the heavyweight division. The interview continued on, and Dana kept ranting about the stupid pound-for-pound rankings. We know the pound for pound rankings are BS at this point. They're voted on by the media, controlled by the UFC. Sorry, Dana, that you're not the one that's low enough down the totem pole to be talking about the official pound for pound rankings, but they're not really official, are they? Here's his quote. Jon Jones is ranked number 3 pound for pound in the UFC. That is the most embarrassing, ridiculous, stupid, know nothing about anything ranking the fighting world of all time. What has Jon Jones done in the last 6 years? Suspended twice, beat a washed up Gustafsson, beat Anthony Smith, who we now know isn't really that good at all. He beat a one-legged Thiago Santos after the first round, barely beat him, barely beat Anthony Smith, lost to Dominic Reyes. Yes, he lost. We know this. Got his ass whooped by Dominic Reyes. And he's number 3 because he beat Cyril Gahn. Alright, decent win, if it was even legit. But you're telling me Islam Makhachev, who knocked out Volk like he did, who finished Charles like he did, and Alex Pereira, who's stepping in on late notice, taking out the entire light heavyweight division, you're saying those guys don't deserve spots over him? Jon Jones should not even be in the top 10 of the pound for pound rankings right now. Let's pull up the pound for pound rankings, why don't we, and talk about this. UFC pound for pound rankings. You're saying he falls number 3? Here we are, right here. Number 1, Islam Makhachev. Well deserved. He beat Alexander Volkanovski, who was the number 2 pound for pound guy, and the number 1 pound for pound guy when they fought him. Ilia Topuria, the way that he finished Volk and ran through the featherweight division on his come up. You're telling me when you see that guy fight, you're not interested to see what's going to happen? The pound for pound rankings is not who is the best of all time, because that's this rant that Dana White has been going on the past couple of weeks. He's misconstruing the GOAT debate and the pound for pound debate. If you took out anybody from the pound for pound rankings, anybody from any division, and put them against another, let's say they were the same weight, and you put their skills up against one another, that's what the pound for pound is. If I took Islam's skills and Alex's skills and put them in a room together, yes, Alex has the power. Could he beat Islam in a knockout? Yes, absolutely. Does he have better kickboxing than Islam? Absolutely, but Islam is the more well-rounded fighter. I'd argue that Islam would probably beat him because Islam is a smart fighter. Ilia Topuria, also a smart fighter who can mix it up and has great boxing and good power. He's right up in there. Jon Jones, sloppy, slow. What kind of hands does he have? Not much. He's got good kicking ability and a decent, well-rounded striking acumen with good takedown, good wrestling, good control. He's okay. He's fat, slobby, and getting older. Bilal Muhammad puts everything together. He was able to piece up Leon in their fight just last week because he mixes it all together. That guy would be good in the pound for pound rankings, in the mix-up. Sean O'Malley with his dominant striking ability and power stands up to an Ilia, stands up to an Islam. Leon Edwards, don't fully agree with, but he is a well-rounded fighter. He's very skilled. He likes everything to be perfect, and that's really his downfall. But he's a good, smart, well-rounded fighter. He just can't seem to put it all together and have an entertaining career. Volkanovski, same thing. Great overall fighter. Are these guys going to beat Jon Jones if they all weighed the same? I'd argue absolutely yes, no question. So when Dana starts spewing shit like this, I can't stand it. Unless he's going to play up the promoter side of things. Unless he fully goes rage mode Dana White, crazy liar Dana White. That's what I want to see because it's more fun. That's the promoter's role, is to lie and tell you the story and spin the story. But when you're disparaging your other champions, it just doesn't make sense. What more is there to say? Jon Jones and Stipe in November. It better happen, Dana. That's all I gotta say. And Jon Jones, I damn well know he's gonna beat Stipe's ass, even though he's not a top 5 pound for pound guy. What does that mean for Jon Jones? Tom Aspinall's next, buddy. He's coming for your ass. He's coming to get you. He's gonna find you and he's gonna put you to sleep. Tom Aspinall, Jon Jones. Next year, 2025. Historical matchup. Greatest light heavyweight of all time versus the legit Chad Mega GOAT of the heavyweight division already at this stage.